Most pressing thing that we want to hit on outside of the Phillies, though, specifically the news that broke last night. We had landed from our spring training trip. We're getting back. I got the alert that Blake Snell has finally found a home. Blake Snell going to the Giants on a deal that is significantly less than what originally he had wanted. Back at the end of 2023, way last year in December, Blake Snell was looking for a long-term deal worth $270 to $300 million. He turned down a 6-year offer with the Yankees back in January that was valued around $168 million. All of that to sign a 2-year, $62 million deal with the Giants. And as Susan Slusser said, who covers them very closely, and pointed out in the San Francisco Chronicle, within that deal, the contract includes a $17 million signing bonus that is payable in January of 2026 and will pay him $15 million in 2024. And so we have a deal. And with that, Snell joins the Giants. The rotation has names like Logan Webb, Blake Snell, Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, Keaton Wynn. Blake Snell to the West Coast with the Giants. Finally off the board, and a lot of people are talking about Scott Boras now because, again, he signed a $62 million deal for 2 years after turning down a $168 million deal for 6 years and wanting $300 million. Deal.
Scott Boras fucked up. As our friend of the show, Michael Bauman from Fangraphs, tweeted out, Scott Boras is not God. He's not always perfect. And it's okay to talk about it when he messes up. He's a super agent. He's a beast in the game. But it really looks like he screwed up this offseason. His highest paid client this offseason, does anybody know who it is? I tweeted it last night if you saw it. But his highest paid client, and Jordan Montgomery, I highly doubt breaks it, but his highest paid client, do you know who it is?
Well, it's not one of the recent ones, like a
Jung-Hoo Lee is Scott Boras'
clients.
highest paid client this offseason. And he's also on the Giants. So Scott Boras, not the offseason he was looking for. Between Cody Bellinger, Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell, like he was pushing, $200 million deals.
Yes.
And we've talked about this throughout the offseason. I think teams are kind of sick of getting bullied by Scott Boras. And they just said, not so fast this offseason. And look, the Giants are very much improved. They've remade their roster between Jung-Hoo Lee and Chapman. They got Jordan Hicks. Now they got Blake Snell. I think there was another piece or two. Jorge Soler they brought in. Their best player last year was it Michael Conforto, probably, outside of the pitching staff. So, the Giants are going to be better. They made some big moves this offseason. The NL West is going to be a little bit of a dogfight. Clearly, the Dodgers are the best, but the Diamondbacks are good. The Giants should be pretty decent now. Scott Boras isn't perfect, and it appears it's now very interesting to me to see what Jordan Montgomery goes for. Now, there was a qualifying offer attached to Blake Snell, so that could have affected his market more negatively. I had some people on Twitter last night speculating that Montgomery is going to fetch more than Snell, but Snell's kind of effectively only a 1-year deal. So it depends on, I don't think he's going to get a higher annual average, but I'm curious what the length of that contract would be.
Yeah.
If Snell's signing 2-year deals and Montgomery, let's say he agrees to a 2-year deal, I would think that's somewhere in the $55 to $60 million range for 2 years. And of course, it's not my money. But Mr. Middleton, if you want to get irrational, a 2-year deal is fairly palatable. Just saying, let's get greedy. And if it's a 1-year deal, even better. Maybe go pay him $35 million for 1 year. Trade Taijuan Walker, get Jordan Montgomery in here for 1 year, and let's party.
Yeah, exactly.
So Scott Boras, not great.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, not a great move. Now, on the financial side for the Giants, just with even all the contract maneuvering, the signing does put them above the collective bargaining tax as a first-time payer. They now have to deal with all that. Great, lovely. For Scott Boras specifically, as you mentioned, those numbers, Blake Snell, as mentioned, wanted, that $270 million to $300 million, ended up signing for 62. Matt Chapman wanted $150 million, ended up signing for $54 million. Cody Bellinger wanted, at least $200 million. Got $80 million. So for Jordan Montgomery, I mean, these guys are signing for a third, not even of what they initially asked for. I mean, 270 to 62, 150 to 50. Like, the math is not mathing. They're getting significantly less
if you had
than
told
what
me,
they initially, and they all wanted long-term deals.
If you had told me when the Phillies were eliminated
long-term deal,
that Jung-Hoo Lee would be the highest paid Scott Boras client this offseason, I would have told you were bleeping nuts.
It's
but
insane.
Here he is, the highest paid Scott Boras client.
Yep. And
Wild
they all
times.
turned down bigger options.
And then the Yankees didn't get re-involved.
No. Well,
Bob Nightingale tweeted this last night. He said that the Yankees chose not to get, they're telling their fans, oh, we're all in. We're all in. And look, Scott Boras and Blake Snell probably should have taken the 6-year, $150 million deal, lower annual average. But last I checked, Renee, you're the big math expert here. 150 greater than 62.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the Yankees just went, nah, we're good, actually. The Giants can have them. So if I'm a Yankees fan, I'm like, probably a little pissed because we're the biggest team in the world, and you're telling me we're all in, and we're not.
But, okay, but for the Yankees fans, sure. But for Blake Snell, you're now with the San Francisco Giants instead of being with the Yankees. You're getting paid.
He's a West Coast guy, too.
Yeah, but whatever. You want to be on a team that's a more closer to winning now. But either way,
he wanted the bag. That's what he wanted.
Exactly. It shows there are some guys that want to go after, winning, being a part of a team that could possibly win a World Series, and some guys that just want to get paid. And we see where Blake Snell lands.